What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to a new video on the channel. Welcome to some Forza Horizon 5, and in today's video I'm gonna play with a car that I've played a couple days ago. I'm trying to make things right, okay? Because I feel like people have instantly jumped to conclusions with what I was saying in one of the previous videos. And I'm not wrong with what I said in the previous videos, it's just I feel like people are misconstruing what I said, and also, you know, obviously, you know, as usual when you make a video, people seem to just misunderstand everything that you're saying, or they always seem to have like a counter to whatever you're saying. So this is a car that I've gotten the other day in a wheel spin video, right? In a wheel spin build video. Now this car specifically, I ended up using, and I said it was one of the worst handling BMWs that I was driving at the time. Now the reason why it was such a bad BMW is because the actual wheel width that you can have on this car for the front wheels is only, I think, a 245 section tire, right? Or 245 section wheel on the front end, which is really thin for a car that was making like 1200 horsepower all-wheel drive. So it's, yes, the car itself, right now, the way I built it for A-Class, because someone in the comments of that video said that this thing is really good, or it's like one of the best handling cars that he's driven in A-Class. Yes, in A-Class, this car is probably very good, which is why I decided to down-tune this car like crazy all the way to the top of A-Class. Now this car is making much less power, 355, it also weighs a lot less. I also kept it rear-wheel drive as it should be. BMWs in this game have a tendency of driving like shit, basically, after you all-wheel drive swap them. But if I was to keep the BMW rear-wheel drive and trying to send, what is it, like 1200 horsepower to the rear wheels, even though the rear wheels on this thing aren't really that wide either, they're like 275s or something, it still won't be able to handle the power on, you know, the hill climb, especially, you know, having resistance of pushing itself uphill. Having all that power just go to the rear wheels, I feel like it would have been a bad idea. Yes, around corners, rear-wheel drive BMWs handle a billion times better than all-wheel drive BMWs, because obviously it adds more weight onto the front end once you all-wheel drive swap it. Here's the thing, right? I'm gonna go ahead and do a golden Touge run with this thing, just because I want to show you guys the tune that this thing has on now. I basically just ended up building this thing, literally took me like 2 minutes. I didn't do anything crazy to it, very basic setup on it. I just want to show you guys how good this car actually is. I wanted to sort of, I guess, not make up for the last video, but prove to you guys how much better this car actually is than it was back in that video that I've made. But I feel like I said, like, a lot of people misconstrued, or they misunderstand what I'm trying to say when I say that this was one of the worst handling BMWs, because as soon as you start going with slightly newer Beamers, and you have, you know, slightly bigger cars, slightly wider cars. I had an F82 as well, which I did the exact same upgrades and the exact same everything that I did to this car. It did still slide the same, except I was able to put like 285s or whatever it was on the front, or 275s or whatever it was. Really wide tires on the front end, and it handled a significantly amount better than this car because it had much more front end grip for high speed corners. But like I said, BMWs are notorious to be like much worse in this game once you all-wheel drive swap them. And again, this one being even more worse, I guess you could say, than your regular Beamers, because it had very thin front tires. So high speed corners with this thing, awful. But as a rear-wheel drive, whoever said that this thing is very good in A-Class, you are 100% right. This thing is beautiful to drive in A-Class. Absolutely gorgeous car to drive. So easy to control. But like I said, in A-Class, so see, even now it kind of understeers the tiniest bit as soon as you start getting it up to speed, just because of the lack of front end grip with this thing. But it's so lightweight, and the front end is much lighter, especially now, not having all that weight on the front end because of the all-wheel drive swap. You can still kind of point the front end in the direction that you want to go when you're in this like mid to low speeds, and it is perfect for stuff like this. It is absolutely perfect. It's such a good car. I remember someone sent me over a E92, and that thing has obviously even wider tires than this thing, and that thing grips like crazy as well in an A-Class. Again, leaving it as a rear-wheel drive car. But as soon as you start changing this thing up, as soon as you start making it all-wheel drive, you add more weight to the front end, And also, not only it upsets the balance, but as soon as you start adding like a stupid amount of power, the front wheels just won't be able to handle the high-speed corners. But this thing is... It's just not able to keep up with those tires that it has on. If it had slightly wider tires, then yes. That's why, like I said, the E92 was like so much better. But the mixture of those two things make this car in S1 or S2, what I ended up building it for in that video, it makes it one of the worst handling BMWs in this game, just because of that fact, right? But that doesn't mean that when it's built in a lower class, it's the worst BMW. It's actually an incredibly good BMW to drive. Like I said before, BMWs in this game are super, super good handling cars, especially if you have a really good tune on them. If you try and get rid of the understeer, or sorry, the oversteer, not the understeer, the oversteer. If you try and remove some of the oversteer from the BMWs, if you tune it correctly, you can go into corners flat out with these like slower corners, and the cars just keep on gripping. They're unbelievably good for doing that. Unbelievably good at handling these corners. Like I said, this is like a 2-minute tune. Like I literally took it out of the festival. I slapped the most basic tune possible on it, and I just went for it. And I wanted to show you how good this thing actually is to drive if it's left as a front engine rear wheel drive, and I didn't give it like a billion horsepower, you know? I just upgraded the standard engine that's in it already. This is a very sloppy run that I'm doing right now, so take this run with a grain of salt, I guess, the time that I get from this run. Just imagine that whatever this run is, I can do about 5 seconds faster at the very, very least. If I concentrate more, if I don't oversteer, if I don't smash into the guardrail or anything like that. But this is my first, very, very first drive in this thing. Like, full throttle, like this, balls to the wall kind of drive. And it's doing a brilliant job. Doing a very, very good job. Alright, what would our final time be? I also want to take one more car on this downhill section, and it's a car that you guys have seen in one of the previous videos as well. It's actually a car that you guys have sent over, and it's the Toyota Tacoma, which is a car that I never really thought about it being like a really good handling car until I tried it in that video, and it's unbelievably good. It's so much fun to drive. What was the time that I just got there? 4:35 with a very sloppy run. Like I said, at the very least 5 seconds faster than a 4:35, right? The fastest car so far in A-Class that you guys have sent me. I didn't update it. Did I update the... I don't know if I updated the list that I had on the Golden Toga. I think I need to. But right now, the 437 is the Lotus Exige, which is one of the cars that you guys have sent me. Okay, so I wanted to have a look because I went back on the video with the Ford Focus that you sent me, and the new fastest A-Class car that you've sent me was a 435 626. So keep that in mind, that the fastest car you guys have sent me was a 435 626, which this run that I've done right now, this very, very sloppy run in this Beamer, which I know I can do about 5 seconds faster, is that much quicker. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, yes, it is a very, very good car in A-Class if you keep it rear-wheel drive and if you keep it low-ish in power. You know? As soon as you start smashing loads of power into this thing, the high-speed corners, they absolutely kill this car. Now, like I said, I want to take a look at the Tacoma that you guys have sent me. That Tacoma that I ended up bringing uphill, I felt like it was such a really, really good handling car. I have to take it out on this. Because I feel like I haven't done it justice. So, it is... Where is it actually from? It's the Birdie design, isn't it? It is the Birdie design. 900 horsepower. It's pretty much the top of S1. 900 horsepower. 850 newton meters of torque. Weighs 1,500 kilos. But the grip off of this thing is immense. It's so good. So like I said, you guys ended up sending this thing over. And I tried it on the uphill, and it absolutely smoked the Ford GT that I did on that run. So I was like, you know what? Because I feel like some people would have asked me. Well, they did ask me. I did have, I think, 1 or 2 people ask me to try this car out on the Golden Toge. So Here it is. Here it is. Let's see what it's capable of. I feel like it's gonna be hard to drive. What's the fastest S1 class car that we've done? It has to be the Viper, right? Yeah, the Viper Anniversary Edition, which did a 408. That is the fastest S1 car. We've had a few other cars. A Honda NSX, which did a 417. Noble M400. Lamborghini Veneno we had as well. A Mosler GT3. I feel like that could be a much faster car, except the tune I think that I got on it wasn't that great. But yeah, the 408 is the Anniversary Viper. Let's try to see if I can get close to that with this car. Alright. The sound of those gear changes is insane. Okay. It feels like I'm sitting so high up. I know that this is like slammed into the ground like it's really, really low, but it's low for an SUV or whatever, for a truck. Because it is a truck, it's a Tacoma. It's so stable, bro. It's so easy to drive. It's one of the easiest cars ever to just like drive and keep it going quickly. The gear changes sound so cool on it though. It's so loud. It's not particularly fast. It's obviously faster than A-class cars, but it's not like a particularly fast car. It is incredibly, incredibly easy to drive though, like I don't know if I've driven an easier car than this. Props to the person that sent this to me as well, by the way. Again. This video, I feel like it's not a recycled video, but it's like sort of like a taking a look back at a couple of other cars, which I feel like I haven't done them justice enough. This one being one of them. I feel like I should have driven this thing more. I did like one run with it, I think. On the Vulcan Sprint, the hill climb. But I mean, I did the same thing with the other guy's 4GT in that video, so... Yeah, but I really, really enjoyed driving this. Ooh, a little bit too close to the wall. Just a bit too close to that wall. I'm kind of scared for some of these corners to like go flat out. So I'm kind of just like... Oh no. I messed that one up a little bit. I'm kind of just like easing on the power and stuff, but... Like there, I could have just gone so much earlier on the power. Here I have to be careful, this thing is... I mean, it's wide, but it's not that wide, right? Okay, we take those, we take those. We take those. I think I was about 10 seconds faster in that gap than the Beamer. If not more than 10 seconds, right? The brakes are very good for what it is. I guess just the way it feels is really, really good. It just feels like a really fast car. Like a really, really good handling car. It doesn't feel like a truck at all. A few questionable corners, and like I said, I'm a little bit sketched out about driving this thing on the limit. Well, that's just, I guess, my skill, especially for doing one... Oh, I tried it. I tried to go like all in one move there. One swift move. I guess it didn't work out too well for me. Stupid wall. 421. I can go so much faster than a 421. There's like so many little bits and pieces. I feel like I can probably beat the NSX. The NSX was a very good tune though that the person sent me. That did 417 at the time. But it's like such an easy car to drive. I just have to remember the size of it because it's still fairly long. Even though it is low to the ground and that, it's still a pretty long car. I mean, it's a still a Toyota Tacoma at the end of the day. The width is actually not too bad. It just feels like a regular car, but it feels, it's a little long. That's why like I was hitting like basically the hips. You can see the way the wide body sticks out like that. I was basically hitting my hips off some of the walls every now and then. It feels such a good car to drive though. Like you can even see it in third person how balanced and flat it is around every corner. It's just a race car. It's exactly what it is. It's just a race car. Except it's a little bit longer and yeah. So yeah, this is another person's tune that they ended up sending me. I felt like I needed to kind of give it like a second look. Yeah, I don't even know what I'm gonna call this video. Revisiting tunes or whatever. I don't know. I really don't. But I just thought I would make this video because I felt like I said with the BMW, I just felt like, you know, people were kind of saying, you know, that I was wrong in calling it the worst handling BMW, which I'm not really wrong. We've had the BMW X5M, right? Didn't I turn this thing into like a race car and it performed like brilliantly, like it did such a good job. But this thing has 50-50 weight distribution like this. The BMW Z4M, as you can see, completely stock, has 50-50 weight distribution. As soon as you make it all-wheel drive, it makes it more heavy on the front end. It'll make it like 53 or 54% over the front end. But, like I said, it's rear-wheel drive now. This thing, all-wheel drive, is 50-50 weight distribution. So it's like so well-balanced. E92, again, this is another user-submitted tune that they sent me. The E92 M3 did a 438. With this car right here, did a 438. So it's a very fast car. But again, it's a user-submitted tune. It's not really my tune that I created. So it did a really good job. It's just, you know, it as a front engine rear wheel drive car, the BMWs have to stay front engine rear wheel drive if they're built like that from factory. As soon as you make them all wheel drive, if they weren't supposed to be all wheel drive, you ruin the balance and you make them drive worse. There you go. Okay, so does that make sense for everybody in the comments of that video that we're saying that I was wrong about making this car or claiming that this car is the worst car that I've gotten, or whatever, the worst BMW that I've driven, because it wasn't really the worst BMW that I've driven stock, but it is once I upgraded it. It just didn't drive well. All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video. Bit of an explanation type of video, but I still feel like it was kind of fun to try it out. Plus, I haven't driven on the Golden Touge now in a little while, right? It's been a little bit since I've been on the track. Anyway, that's it. Thank you for watching, everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed today's short little video. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.